Hello and welcome to the Yellowbird Hotline, the podcast where your favorite hot sauce company answers questions from our customers that we may or may not be qualified to answer. You can get your questions on the podcast by calling or texting 855-700-BIRD. That's 855-700-BIRD. I guess today we might be qualified to answer these questions because it's kind of, the voicemail today is kind of like personal experience questions. I wanted to welcome for the very first time on this podcast, Katie is joining us today.
Woo!
Katie, yes, hello, Katie, and welcome to the podcast. Katie is. We now have the entire Yellowbird sales and marketing team on one podcast, so there's no work getting done.
This is it.
How's everybody doing today?
A little sleepy. Could use some more coffee.
Well, drink some more coffee. Jeez.
I'm feeling good. This is like the third day in a row that it's right around freezing temperatures in the morning here in Austin, and I love it. Give me that cold stuff, man. For like a week. I love cold weather for a week, and then I'm like, okay, I'm done. We got snow in Austin. It's cold.
We got snow and then 65 degrees. It's gonna be 65 today.
I'm all about it. Yeah.
To jump build a snowman.
So it took us and the kids across the street, and it was like 5 families banding together to get enough snow to make one decent snowman. But yeah, we did it. It was awesome.
Oh, you brought the families together?
Would you like to build a tiny snowman?
Exactly. Yeah.
Ours lasted all the way until yesterday. It finally melted.
Nice.
I like the day after, like, of snow when it just they just turn into ice men. It's just like packed ice.
Well, and it's nice here too. Like, I lived in New Jersey for a few years, and like the day after a heavy snow, it's just nasty. Like all of the cars have driven through like 9 inches of snow, and you've got slush everywhere, and everyone's shoes are gross. Here, there's like, it's only half an inch of snow on the ground. So when it melts, it just kind of gently goes away into the gutter, and it doesn't linger. It's really nice. It's very clean.
A half an inch is not a lot.
I mean, I just feel like I like snow, like observing it, like a snow globe outside of my window. But if I have to perform any actions, like if I have to go anywhere, drive anywhere, then suddenly it's like my worst nightmare. And I can't handle it. I think it's beautiful to look at. And I don't actually want to be in it.
I don't like driving in the snow, but there's something gratifying about doing outdoor tasks in the snow for me.
It's like Rocky IV.
George loves running in the snow in shorts, and that's it.
I
Dude,
do like that. Yeah.
I went for a run in the snow, and then like I was outside. I threw a couple of snowballs at my son, and I was just like still in my shorts, and I had taken my shirt off because I was about to get in the shower, and he's laughing at me like, "Dad, what are you doing?" And I swear to God, like 4 seconds later, down the road comes this dude in a beanie, tights, and no shirt, just running in the snow. I'm like, yes, there we go.
I feel like that's a direct product of people being stuck inside for 2020 and not getting enough attention. So, I feel like that's a real show off in the snow. I do like the crunchy sound it makes whenever you step on it, but I'd like to step on it, safely, comfortably in a boot. I will not be running.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I like the fact that like, if it's like, that's the most snow I think I've seen in Austin. Aaron was telling me that I was wrong, but I think it's the most snow that I've seen in Austin since we've lived here. And I was immediately like, man, I need to get some warm clothes. And I'm glad I didn't get any because today it's going to be in the 60s. So no reason for that. Well, let's get to our question today because it's a multi-part question from a repeat caller that you guys may recognize. So here we go. Here it comes.
Hey guys, this is Trey Garza again. Got a new set of questions for you. Loved the first episode, and here we go. What are your top 3 best pickup lines? What are your most embarrassing moments from the grades kindergarten through 12th? Tell me about, what was the first or the worst first date you've ever been on? And where is your favorite place to go and get a burger? Thank you very much.
Okay, well, thanks for calling again, Trey. Nice to have you back on the show.
Can't get enough.
Can't get enough of it.
Love repeat callers.
So wait, I think I forgot the questions already. Most embarrassing moments.
Pickup lines.
Pickup
Pickup
lines.
lines.
Embarrassing moment K through 12.
Yeah.
Worst first date.
Worst first date.
And burger.
Favorite burger. Yeah.
Favorite burger.
Let's go ahead and just shout out to our good friends at Hat Creek Hamburgers. Get that sombrero burger with a nice healthy dose of Yellowbird Serrano. Boom.
We know which favorite hamburger place Daniel has.
Hat
Well, let's do
Creek
hamburger.
Creek.
Let's do hamburger places first. I
Okay.
feel like that's an easy place to start. I think my favorite, which I've been missing all kinds of restaurants during pandemic times. You know, everything has changed, but I really like Casino El Camino.
That was my answer too.
I know. Well, I mean, we do all the same stuff, Aaron. So.
What?
You have to give context though. Not everybody knows what.
Oh
Casino
yeah,
is.
you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. So like, because we all live in Austin, Casino El Camino is like down on 6th Street, on like dirty 6th Street, which is like the Bourbon Street of Austin. And when we first moved to Austin, I was playing at a bar on 6th Street, and so like that, it like Casino El Camino is one of those like, it's kind of like. It's kind of like a metal
Grungy.
bar. It's kind of like a
Metal,
biker
yeah.
bar type place, but it's not a gimmick. Like the thing that's hard to describe about it is that it is like a biker bar, but not as a gimmick in the middle of like downtown Austin. And they're rude to you, not as a gimmick, but because they're just rude, and the food is great. And I love it. I love Casino El Camino.
I mean, maybe they were rude to you. They weren't rude to me.
they've always been rude to me. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's awesome. Like that's part of it, right? Like across the street like, is Coyote Ugly, which is 100% a gimmick. Hey, let's repeat this thing over and over and over again. But
How dare you? Coyote
Favorite
Ugly is a
burgers?
cultural icon.
Well, is
Ooh.
Hat Creek your favorite burger, Daniel?
I mean,
favorite
look,
place to go for a
I've
burger?
had a lot of great burgers. Yeah, it's my go-to place for a burger.
Mm.
One, because unlike being like a biker bar, every Hat Creek has a playground, so it's very family friendly, right? So it's one of those like sometimes I gotta slide while I slurp a milkshake. You know what I'm saying? I didn't come here to get judged, guys.
Mm.
But no, Hat Creek's great. You know, they're a customer. They make a darn good burger. It's quick and it's family friendly, so it checks all the boxes for me.
What about you, Kelsey?
Well, I think, doing like another Austin local place. I have basically two answers. So, obviously during the pandemic, I haven't made it out as much, but there's a food trailer on South Lamar at Gibson Street Bar. This is all very Austin, but it's called Luke's Inside Out.
Yep.
And they just have an incredible burger. And it's a double burger. It's got lettuce and tomato. It's got super melty cheese. The bun is really good. And they have like a burger sauce on it, and it's just incredible. Like it has great flavor. It's really juicy. And they also are really bold, and they put an entire like thick slice of purple onion on it. So it's very polarizing if you're not an onion person, but I am an onion
Dude,
person.
have you ever had their rabbit and kimchi sandwich? At
I
Luke's Inside
haven't,
Out?
because I always get the burger.
Oh, treat yourself.
Yeah, it's
Treat
so
yourself.
good. They have great tots and fries, and it's just one of those places that I unfortunately, like, I hate this about myself, but like I just very selectively take people there because like I don't want it to become a thing, and now I feel like I've betrayed it.
Oh, well, now it's on the podcast that
But
literally
but
tens
forget
of
that you
people will
heard
listen
that.
to.
I also really love Phil's, which is also in Austin, and Phil's is like they have this jalapeno cheese bun that goes really well with the burger, and it's just really delicious. But Phil's has been my go-to as far as ordering food during the pandemic, because I also live really close to a Phil's, and so I feel like burgers are pretty dicey to order for delivery, but every time it gets to me, it's so amazing.
Guys, I'm getting really hungry right now. Like I just had
I-
breakfast, but
yeah.
I'm getting
I'm
hungry.
just like thinking of bar food right now, and I want to go to like Little Darlin or something. Get some.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, Little Darlin's a good one too.
I've never had their burgers, but yeah, Little Darlin has some really
Well,
amazing.
it's all vegan, isn't it? I think they do
Yeah. Well, you can
the
yeah,
Impossible
vegan burger.
or
Mhm.
Beyond Burger or
Mhm.
something. Also, you guys, since we're talking about burgers and vegan burgers came up, y'all probably all remember that I went through a phase where I was obsessed with Beyond Burgers,
Yeah.
and it's over now. But
No, well, dude, tomorrow you can get a free Beyond sandwich at was it
I said it's
Brunchbird?
over now, Daniel.
You can get a free one. They're giving away free breakfast sandwiches, Beyond breakfast sandwiches at Brunchbird.
He's saying it doesn't have to be over for you, George.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
dude.
It's a really
Well,
interesting smell.
Katie, I know you're not a big burger person, but is there something in that vein that you like, that you have like a go-to?
Well, I
something?
don't eat beef, so I can't really claim like a good classic true burger, but I'm a sucker for P. Terry's chicken sandwich. It's just the crispy chicken. It's the best.
Yeah, dude. Not battered, not fried. It's just it's like grilled chicken that is just carbonized there.
Just real
Yeah.
good.
They've
Just
got
real
two
good grilled
different
chicken?
kinds. They have the crispy chicken and the grilled chicken, and both are phenomenal.
Oh, I've never
Yeah.
had the crispy chicken.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
I gotta get a
and they
crispy
have
chicken.
a spicy crispy chicken.
Oh man.
They do.
Can
I
we
stood
just
in
talk
line
about
the day
how,
that
like,
came out.
how that is the weirdest thing to me in 2020, that like the chicken sandwich has become like the battleground food of fast food now. Like Shake Shack,
The fried
just-
chicken sandwich?
Yeah,
Mhm.
dude, Shake Shack just like released their fried chicken sandwich, and it makes headlines. Like Wendy's has a new chicken sandwich, and it makes headlines.
Yeah,
Oh,
Whataburger
wasn't that
made a new
the
one.
Popeyes chicken
Yeah.
sandwich? That
Yeah,
yeah.
Popeyes started
Exactly.
it.
Dude, and it's
Popeyes.
I've had 2 in the past 2 weeks, and they're delicious, guys.
Yeah,
I
but
just I think
chicken.
it's you know
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it's well worth it. Yeah, I think like I'm glad spicy chicken is finally getting its due. I don't know what took everyone else so long. That's been my go-to order at
But
Wendy's
you
and
could
Chick-fil-A for
you lived in
an
you
eon.
lived in Nashville, right?
I did, and I mean, hot chicken. I don't want to disrespect Nashville because that's a whole different conversation. But
Okay.
Nashville has a thing called hot chicken, which is different than like a spicy chicken sandwich. Because usually,
I'm dumb. I don't know.
no,
the
it's
difference.
okay. I just feel like that's like something that's very sacred to them. But hot chicken is basically like doused in dry spices and and maybe even like a kind of like a wet spice mix, but it makes the chicken itself really, really, really spicy, and it's incredible. It's so juicy. It's just like it hits you right in the solar plexus versus like a spicy chicken sandwich that might have like a little bit of spicy breading and like a spicy specialty sauce. Hot chicken is like all in, and it doesn't always come in like a sandwich. You usually just eat it with sides and a big thing of white bread to soak up the juice.
So
But yeah,
hungry.
I am very
Well,
passionate about spicy chicken.
Dude, what I'm ready to happen is like, again, George, you and I, we're from Birmingham, right? So like the chicken biscuit is everywhere, dude. Like
Mm.
I love a
everybody
chicken
has a
biscuit.
chicken biscuit, right? And that's they're more and more readily available, as people like figure out that they're delicious. But I'm hoping that this is the year that everybody has a good
Gets
chicken
on the
biscuit.
chicken biscuit. Yeah, man, that Chick-fil-A breakfast chicken biscuit, that used to be the thing.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
man,
Aaron,
it's half butter.
Aaron, I took your go-to burger.
Oh, do I
spot.
have to change it? I mean, I don't want to change
No,
it.
you don't have to change it. But are you sticking with Casino El Camino?
Yeah, I think I
Okay.
had it was like a mushroom Swiss burger type thing, and I was just like, I mean, the whole time I was just like savoring every bite. Like, you remember, I couldn't stop saying how amazing this burger is.
And also shout out to Hop Daddy while we're talking about local burger places.
I always forget about them. Is
Yeah,
that
you can't
bad?
forget about Hop Daddy. That's
I
like,
think I forget about. I don't forget about their food. I just forget about the incredibly long line pre-COVID
Yeah.
times.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you could get a salted caramel milkshake to eat, in line while you were waiting.
I guess
for your
it just
food.
depends on which Hop Daddies you go to, right? Because some of them are not as populated as that.
It's true.
Yeah,
okay,
the
well, that
SoCo
was
one.
that was an excellent warm up, and I think that I think that most embarrassing moments. Trey limited it to like 3rd grade through 12th grade or
He
something.
said
or like
K through 12.
K through 12. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that limitation. This could be, for the purposes of this podcast, this episode today, these embarrassing moments could be from any time in life. Mine are from K through 12 because I feel like that's when you do a lot of embarrassing stuff, and that's when you care the most about
Yeah.
what people think. I just don't care anymore, so I could do all these same things. But let's start. You know what? Let's start with Aaron. Aaron,
Most embarrassing moment. It scarred me for life. I was in 3rd grade. I had Miss Schreiner and a class of about 20 kids. And It was one of those classes that was like built, the walls were built with bookshelves, like rolling bookshelves, right? And I remember going to school feeling like I don't feel too good. And I walked to school because my house was at that point like a half mile from school. So I walked. And I remember it was like quiet time during class, after we did some work and came back from like recess and stuff. And I was super shy. So I didn't like to raise my hand or, make any kind of noise really because I didn't want attention. And I felt so bad. Everybody was just quiet, sitting, and the teacher was sitting at her desk doing work. And I stood up and I walked to like the opening where the door is, it's just bookshelves. And I I walked to the opening, I turned around and I just like projectile vomited at my class.
Yeah. Hey everybody, I have an announcement.
I was like, I just like stood up and went to the doorway and just turned around at my class and just projectile vomited. And and then I walked to the bathroom and, proceeded to get the rest out. Like all along the way, like throwing up.
That's gross.
Yeah.
It was like a trail.
It was hard.
Wow.
That's a good one.
Dramatic.
Mine's not dissimilar, dude, but I was 20 when that happened to me.
All right, continue.
Yeah, well, like Lauren and I, we went on a road trip. We drove from Birmingham up to Boston because she was looking at a few schools up there for grad school, man. And we drove up there and we stayed with a friend, and we had gotten these we'd stopped at this diner in New Haven, Connecticut on the way up, and I had gotten this like spinach and feta, something like, again, not great road food from a diner in the middle of Connecticut. Anyway, it didn't sit right. The next day we're at BU. We're like the student commons of BU. And same thing. I don't feel so good. Hey guys, I'm starting to sweat. Like, where's like the nearest, where's the nearest bathroom? Anyway, I didn't make it, right? So I hurled like on the way up the stairs to the bathroom, and the stairs were open, right? There weren't backs to them. So it's like dripping down.
Oh, gross.
So like I run up to like, and I was so embarrassed. And so I run up to the information booth. I'm like, hey, like wiping vomit from my mouth. Hey, somebody, I don't know who, somebody just threw up on the stairs back there. You probably want to clean that up.
Yeah.
If I had known everybody's story was going to be about throwing up, I wouldn't have put this right after the burger section.
You've only heard 2 so far. We still have 3 to go.
Okay,
Mine
Katie, tell
wasn't
us your
gonna
throw
be.
up story.
Man, mine might have involved a substance of some sort, but I can't quite. It's all hazy.
Substance?
I don't really remember.
Like it's not legal in all 50 states yet? Is that what you're saying?
No, it was legal in France, so I can't say it was illegal.
Did
at
you
the
throw up
time
though?
of being 19. I
Oh,
did throw up.
nice. Oh yeah.
Was
Did you
it-
see a
so
green
that-
fairy?
The,
Well,
embar-
I,
the embarrassing thing was that was the throwing up. All right, let's start from the beginning.
There was a really big bottle of Grey Goose and then Red Bull, and that might have been my first real time drinking. But again, it was legal in France, and I had a couple drinks, and then I was sitting the whole time. And then when I got up to go to the bathroom, that's when the room kind of spins. And as I stumbled my way to the bathroom door was locked. And it's that moment when you don't have enough time to find a trash can. And so I may have just puked on the bathroom door and walked away.
Hey, you got as close as you could.
It's true.
I tried.
Yeah.
That's
A
more
for
than I
effort.
could say. That's more than I could say for our first 2 throwing up places stories.
Oh yeah, dude.
I knew I wasn't going to make it, so I just said, you know what?
Here's a show.
Yeah, dude.
Kelsey,
And Katie has never had Red Bull since.
I haven't.
Or
So
Grey Goose.
true.
Good choice.
Yeah, she's got a bottle of Grey Goose in her room, but like, yeah, the Red Bull she's
Just
done
drink it
with.
straight. Yeah. Gross.
Kelsey, is your story about throwing up somewhere?
No, it's not puke related.
Oh,
Do you
wow,
want me
okay.
to figure out one?
No, you don't have to. This is, what a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have plenty of those stories, but mine is more damaged pride than damaged stomach. But
Oh,
when
I'm
I was
gonna do a
in,
little. I'm gonna do some underscore music here. A story of damaged pride.
I mean, it explains everything. When I was in 5th grade, I was really excited. I've always been a kid who's like really good at spelling. And there were like rumors that we were going to be eligible, like our elementary school was going to have like a spelling bee competition, which hadn't happened, in all of my 6 years there because I was in 5th grade. And so I was like, I got this. Like, no, I'm sorry. Like, I'm so smart. I'm so good at spelling. I'm in 5th grade. So like, it's not like a 2nd grader's going to beat me. And I was really excited. And so they started out, I guess, like the semifinals was just in your class, and I kept advancing, and I was getting just, left and right, really excited. I was getting a lot of encouragement. I was really just like puffing my 5th grade chest out. Like I can spell anything. And so of course, like the final, assembly before they were going to figure out who was going to go and compete with the other elementary schools, they're only sending one kid, was in our auditorium. And so my mom helped me like pick out my outfit because I advanced that far, and I was so excited.
What was the outfit?
It was like a mint green dress that had purple flowers on it, and it was like knee length, and it had a matching like cardigan that went with it.
Classy
So
mom.
I
Classy.
probably had a bow too. So I was
There
really
was no animal print involved.
not in that fit, but that was still a big part of my wardrobe, and it is
Okay.
now, as I'm wearing a zebra print turtleneck today. But I get to the auditorium and I'm so excited, and they like are lobbing softballs. We're doing the early round, and I'm kind of spicing it up. Like I'm looking at the judges, like, oh, can you use it in a sentence? Like I was so excited. And they like the words keep getting harder and harder, and some kids are getting out, and I get up to the microphone and they ask me to spell chocolate. And I'm like, okay. And so I'm like, chocolate. I say it in my head. And I'm like, CHOCL.
No.
And I stop, and I'm like, and I know from, from spelling bee rules, like I've already misspelled it because in case you guys didn't catch that, there is a second O in chocolate.
Yeah.
And I start like the tears start welling up in my eyes because I'm like, oh no, I've failed on chocolate. And yeah, and all the judges like look at me like they know. And so I have to finish the word, and I'm trying not, then you have to stay on stage. You'd have to go to the other side of the riser. So I'm trying not to cry. And ever since then, I really don't like ordering chocolate things, and I have like a vendetta against it. And I'm like, no, clearly vanilla is better.
I'm just
Wow.
imagining like 10-year-old Kelsey, like in that moment, like where she knew she missed the O. Like
Yeah.
it's like, in a movie like where like the soldier knows he stepped on a landmine. Does
Yeah.
he warn everybody else to run away? Or did he just like shake his head and say, it's been real, everybody. It's been a lot of fun,
Yeah.
But no,
And
he just
it was
It's a
just,
tragic
it was
story.
like, it was so sad, and it was more embarrassing for me. But then the best part was that like every student in my class would like be like, chocolate, and they would say it to me with 3
Oh.
syllables. And so I had to hang my head in shame.
Terrible.
What a bunch of idiots.
I mean, it's okay.
Kids
We've
are the
progressed
worst.
past it, but yes, kids are the worst. And mostly it was just me brought back down. It wasn't the path that was meant for me. But I do still watch the National Spelling Bee every year, and I think, what
could have been me.
dude, for what it's worth, I live with a very smart 5th grader, and I can say with 100% certainty that he can't spell chocolate correctly. There's no way.
No
Very
one can.
Very precocious kid. No chance he can spell that.
Yeah. So, just never forget about that second O.
Speaking of chocolate, let's do mine very last. We're probably gonna have to pick up the pace a little bit because we still got like 16 more questions to answer.
Sorry, Trey.
Might be a 2-parter.
Why did you?
Maybe.
I'm curious. Why did you start this with speaking of chocolate?
I pooped my pants. That's my story.
Yesterday, and it was not enjoyable.
No, I think I was in like 3rd or 4th grade, and I went to this I went to this Presbyterian school, and we had a fire drill day, and it was like they did a fire drill at like, I don't know, like right like in like 10:30 in the morning or something, and so everybody goes outside, including all the teachers, and the doors locked behind us. right? So like this is before the days of cell phones. Nobody has cell phones. All the phones are in the building. And so like they're like somebody has to like walk to find, like a locksmith or the fire department or something. So literally like the entire school is just like standing out in the parking lot. It was a fairly nice day. We're all standing out in the parking lot, and I was wearing I was a chubby little kid. I
Please say
remember,
you were wearing like Umbros.
no, I wasn't. I was wearing husky elastic waist jeans because because chubby
Because you were
kids
that cool.
we're husky, right? That's not fat. I'm husky. That was what people
Adorable.
said. Yeah. And yeah, I like told the teacher several times I had to go, and I did not know, little third grade me did not know what to do. Didn't think to, this was before like my Boy Scout days. I didn't think to go find a spot in the woods. So I pooped my pants.
Dude, in third
And I
grade,
lived in it. I lived in it for the rest of the day.
No.
Outside. There wasn't a I didn't have a change of clothes, and I didn't want to admit it to anybody. So I just
But you
stood
probably
there.
could smell it on you.
Oh
They probably
God,
could smell
yeah, it was awful. It was the worst day of my life.
well, and what sucks, like when you're I don't know, in kindergarten, right? Like you don't have full control of everything. Like, oops, yeah, it happened, right?
It was like,
dude, in third grade, like you made a choice.
Yeah,
Said, you know, like,
yeah, no, I was
this
gonna
is
say,
this
like,
is a decision I'm making right now.
I was old enough to where I could have done something else. And
but not quite old enough to have the decision-making
Yeah.
frameworks.
Were there
Yeah.
like no woods around you? You couldn't have like darted into the
No,
woods
I'm
and just
saying
said
that
peace.
there
y'all
were
have
we
to-"
there
It's suburban
were,
Birmingham. There absolutely were
Oh.
woods.
there were
yeah.
definitely woods. Yeah.
Oh.
It was kind of nestled in the woods. Anyway, so that, well, we gotta keep going because we still got Trey asked for the three most embarrassing moments. We're just gonna do one because there's 5 of us, but I do want to do everybody. Let's go around and we'll do best pickup line and worst first date all in one. So the best pickup line, it can be a joke pickup line. It can be like a real pickup line that has worked for you in the past. It's mostly like the majority of the people on this podcast are women. So maybe you guys have never had to use pickup lines. I don't know. But let's start with Kelsey. Kelsey, pickup line
okay.
first.
I usually just say hello.
Yeah.
But my thing is that like I think I'm a very social, talkative person, and nothing really intimidates me, and I can kind of just like talk to anybody. But if I see someone that I really, really, really like, my brain just shuts off. So I don't
Yeah.
have a pickup line. I just stand there looking scared.
Blah,
and
blah,
afraid.
blah, blah, blah,
And I just
blah.
hope like I just look at them like really confused and hope that they will make the first move. I have before done the like, do I know you from somewhere sort of thing.
Oh, do I know you from somewhere? Has got to be
Yeah,
among
like
the top.
I'll like I'll just kind of look at them, but sometimes that's just because I literally think that I do because I live on the internet and I just feel like I've probably seen everyone's tweets at some point. So yeah, but I don't
Sorry
really
about your sister's diagnosis.
I don't really have any game. That's kind of it.
So worst first date, if you want to share.
Yeah, so that I had to really narrow it down here. I don't know if you guys have dated in a while, but it is bleak. But this one was, I guess, the one that's the most notorious was a few years ago. And I know this because I remember which movie we saw, but I was out having happy hour with my girlfriends in Austin, and our server came up and he was like super cute and he was super nice. And, we're like having a grand old time, and I'm talking really loud and telling great stories, I'm sure. And so he ended up kind of like bringing us a free app, which great. Thanks. And I guess that meant that he liked us. So he ended up leaving his phone number on the receipt. And I was like, okay, he was cute. Like, I'll text him. So I do. And we like talk. And so he's like, we should go out sometime. And I'm like, great. And he like suggests a movie. I'm like, great. I love movies. And I mean, when I say I love movies, like I am extremely passionate about going to movies, specifically at the Alamo Drafthouse. And he suggests going to see the movie Kingsman at the Alamo Drafthouse. I'm like,
Also a
great,
great burger.
I-
at Alamo
yes,
Drafthouse.
a great burger. Yeah, the Royale is so good. So I'm like really pumped because I am a psycho and I just have like, I get so excited to go see a movie. And so he's like, okay, I'll pick you up. And so he comes to pick me up and he rolls up in a Honda Odyssey, like a dusty old minivan. And I'm like, okay, this is, and that's like not what I'm expecting to pull up to my apartment complex. I'm like, is someone letting their kids off? Oh, no, it's this guy. So I go out and get in the minivan. I don't know if I should like get in the back because there's like one of those big doors, but I'm like, okay, I'll get in the front. And he's like, hey, and he's like,
time out. Like,
"Sorry."
is the Odyssey pimped out? Do he have like a system in the back that's like
She said
thumping?
dusty old Odyssey.
If by system you mean like child's like car seats, then yes. But no, I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking like, does this guy have kids? And he's like, hey, this is my sister's minivan. He's like, I'm borrowing it from her. He has like some, either his car is in the shop or he doesn't have a car. I don't know. I'm just like, okay. And I'm like, I'm being open-minded. This is fine. So I like get in the Honda Odyssey and I'm noticing that like we are probably going to miss the previews, which already has me very stressed out. And I'm like, okay. So like we get to the movie theater and, when you get to Alamo Drafthouse, you already have your seats. So we go sit down and we're in the middle of the preview. So I'm already annoyed. And the Honda Odyssey was not booking it on the way there. And so he, he sits down and he's like basically going to order for us. And at Alamo Drafthouse, they have never ending popcorn, which I love. And it comes, you can get extra clarified butter. And before they can say anything, I was like, oh yeah, we should get the popcorn. He's like, he says to the server, like, we don't need any extra butter. It's already buttery enough. And I'm like, wow, way to assume that we didn't need extra butter. That is the best part. So I'm like, I'm already stressed. I'm trying to just enjoy. The Honda Odyssey was bumpy. And he talks through the entire movie. Like he'll look over at me and be like, oh, that guy was in this movie. And I'm like, first of all, I know. And so I'm trying to just be like, haha. But I'm like, the best part of like going to see a movie on the first date is you can just kind of like enjoy the movie and then talk about it afterwards. It puts less pressure on it. And so it's just not great. And then afterwards, he like doesn't really have a plan if we're going to hang out. And he's like, I have to get the minivan back to my sister. And I'm like, well, this was terrible, but I'm trying to be like open and understanding. And I'm just like, yeah, no. And he ends up taking some of the Alamo Drafthouse food to go. He basically takes like my extra fries to go as well. He's like, are you going to finish those? I'm like, no. So it's just like, I've never asked for a to-go box at the movie theater. It was just a different vibe. So he drops me off. I don't really see him again after that, but like maybe like 2 or 3 months later, I go to this house party and one of my friends is there and he ends up being there. It's like a bunch of people are there. I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen that guy in forever. On this really weird first date. My friend is like, yeah, it's been so weird because like he and his girlfriend have been so on again, off again. And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah. And so like, basically I like trace the timeline back to like, I'm not really sure if he was like broken up with his girlfriend at the time we went on our date. So it just adds to the mystique of it all. But every time I go to the Alamo Drafthouse now, I make sure to get extra clarified butter because I can do what I want.
You do what you want.
There's a lot about that, honestly, that like sucks, but also that resonates with me because my worst first date includes like a busted ass Honda.
Well, let's go to your worst.
Mine.
Yeah, let's go to your worst first date, Daniel.
It involves my Honda Accord being busted. It involves us going to a movie that I talked to the whole time. It was Billy Elliot.
Wait, was this? Did you go on this date with Kelsey? Were you the mystery?
It involved me not having a plan for afterwards, and then like finding out immediately, like 2 days later. Oh yeah, this girl already has a boyfriend. So like, and it also turns out, George, I don't want to come out and say it, but again, I'm pretty sure that my worst first date, again, it was all my fault. Let's be very clear about that. I didn't have a plan. I talked through the movie. My car was busted. Like there was no heat or defrost in my car. It was cold outside. Ooh. So like we couldn't see where we were going. I picked her up from her house.
Love it.
I was like 17, by the way. So like, I pick her up from her house and I'm like, head out the window, Ace Ventura style, trying to like see where I'm going.
Classic.
Yeah. She's like, is there any heat? Sorry, no.
No,
there's not.
Bring a
having fun?
blanket for her at least, Daniel.
Of course not, Katie Redez.
Right, this is
Of course
the
not.
date.
I was
This is
17
high
and I
school
knew
Daniel.
nothing.
Yeah.
Golly.
You
What do
learned
you think
though.
I am? Eventually, like 6 years into my marriage, I learned.
You said I'll pack a blanket.
Yeah, you know.
I love an alpaca blanket.
Mhm.
No, yeah, they're so
Ooh,
soft.
That is
yeah.
alpaca.
Ooh,
You
yeah.
block
So
that.
wait, I know
This
we're
is
not
so
naming.
Andean.
I know we're not naming names, but me and Daniel might have discussed this briefly yesterday. Is this the same person that I may have had my worst first date with?
It's the exact same person.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
Okay. Let's
Hey,
get to that.
George,
Let's get to it in a minute.
Take it away, George.
Okay, yeah, I'll go next. Why not? I feel like I always go last.
Good
but-
segue.
yeah, good segue. So, I think also like it was hard for me to pick one. I've had a lot of awful first dates.
We're
Um,
terrible.
Yeah, but well, I think everybody who's spent any time at all dating is like, this is the worst. When it's not like, when it's the worst, it's the worst. So I've had plenty of like, oh, let's meet here at this time, and just gotten completely stood up and been like eating dinner somewhere alone, right? I think everybody's had that at least once. But the one that I have chosen for today was, I think I was maybe like a freshman or a sophomore in college, and it was a girl, same girl. Let's just call her. Let's call her Beth, because I don't want to I don't want to drop any shade her
And to be
way.
clear, she's a lovely person now.
Lovely person.
She was a lovely person then.
Yeah.
You guys were just terrible then. Is that right?
Yeah.
So like here, no, I was.
I mean, I was.
I was.
George
not-
wasn't. I was.
I was very good on this date. We went to watch a movie. We went to like, hung out like at a coffee shop afterwards at the there was like a Barnes and Noble at the Summit in Birmingham, where we, like, I had a plan, and she was like, I have to be home early, so I had to get her home by like 8:00.
Mhm.
And this is a girl that like we went to high school with, and so I'm like 20 or something, and I had a bit of a crush on her in high school, and I was like, oh, we're kind of, she was like home for Christmas or something like that, and we were like, it wasn't a date, but it was like, oh yeah, let's get together and see what happens. And she's like, well, I got to be back. I got to be back at home at 8. And I was like, okay. So I got, like, we went and saw like a matinee movie. We went and hung out at the coffee shop. We had a nice time, right? Like I did fine. She did fine. And then the next day, the next afternoon, my younger brother gives me a call, and he's like, you'll never guess who I had a date with last night. So are these pieces coming together for you guys?
No.
I had to take her home early so she could go on a date
Oh my god.
that same night with my younger brother.
Ew, David. That's weird.
Wow.
That's so weird.
Let's just get clear.
Um,
That doesn't happen on accident.
It doesn't happen on accident. I was
You
like,
don't trip over that.
well, that was the thing that because my brother called me, because she was one of those girls that everybody kind of thought was cute in high school. And she was like, and so my brother was like, yeah, I went,
Clearly.
and again, I'm just going to call her, what do we say, Beth? He was like, oh, I went on a date last night with Beth. And I was like, that's funny, because
Did Beth know that you were brothers?
yes, of course she did.
Weird.
Yes, we all went to school together.
Oh,
She absolutely
man.
knew we were brothers.
Okay.
And
So did
So I called her up immediately, and she was so embarrassed. Like as far as
Good.
embarrassing moments, hopefully that ranks up there for her. But like she was very embarrassed, and I was like, I wasn't mad. It wasn't like I was mad.
Yes,
like,
you were.
Neither of us. I
You're
wasn't
just
really. Like,
disappointed.
it was just one. It was one of. Yeah, I'm just
I
disappointed.
just expect more.
But I was like, I was kind of laughing when I talked to her. She was like, oh my God, I feel so terrible. I was like, how did you think this was gonna go?
I would have loved to hear the thought process in her head as she
Yeah.
decided to
As
go
she-
on a date in the same night with two brothers.
Well, as she was
at
like
different
as she
times.
was getting ready for her second date with my brother, Like, how is
Well,
she
'cause,
She's
rationalizing
like,
that
this
to
is
herself?
totally gonna
This
work
is
out. It's
fine,
gonna be
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Like, if that had happened to me, like 2 years after our first date, I'd have been like, you know what? You went out with my little brother. I deserve that. You know what?
But your little
that's
brother
on
is
me.
much younger than you. Me and my little brother are so like she is 1 year younger than me, and then my brother is 1 year younger than her. So it was all
Feels
kind of
like The Bachelor or something. Like,
oh
Yeah.
man,
multiple
funny.
dates in one day.
it was pretty fun. So like the date itself was fine. It was just like it was some 20-year-old kids like going to a movie and sitting at a coffee shop. That part was fine. It was just the later kind of part of it. So that was mine. Aaron, worst date
Yeah,
ever?
I mean,
Worst first date ever?
well, first of all, pickup line is just this.
Oh yeah, she's just doing a
It
look.
worked.
I forgot to do my pickup
Don't do-
line.
Yeah,
My
pickup
my
line is just
honestly-
eyes.
My honestly best pickup line was always just, "Hi, I'm George."
Yeah, I don't do pickup lines. I don't have game.
You don't.
But first date, well, it was, man, I haven't been on many dates, but I remember one distinctly that I met this guy randomly at a Starbucks. And I was in college at the time and I was super busy, like working a lot, doing a lot of school stuff. And I remember he was like, let's just make it a casual thing. I'll pick you up. We'll go get a coffee, like a late night coffee at the same Starbucks. And I was like, okay.
At the Starbucks where he worked? Wait, did you say
No, he
worked
didn't
there?
work there.
okay.
He was just there as a customer. And I was like, okay, yeah. And so it was like, I don't know, maybe like a Wednesday night when he picked me up, and he picked me up in one of those huge Dodge Chargers. You know what I'm talking about? And immediately just like floored it. And we're like on Fannin Street in Houston. He's going like 90 miles an hour. First of all, I'm just like, I don't like this already. This is really weird. I feel like he's trying to show off in the weirdest way. So we get to Starbucks and it didn't last very long. He just immediately brought up like marriage and kids. And I was like, I have to go. I have a big project due tomorrow. So can you just take me back?
Listen here, Chad. You're going 90 and a 30
I think
right
his
now.
name was Chad.
I need you to slow it down, buddy.
Literally.
Take
And
your foot
that's,
off the gas.
yeah. I mean, he was probably like 10 years older than me at the time. So
Ooh.
yeah,
Ooh.
it makes
Well,
sense that he would
Starbucks.
rush into that for him. Situational awareness, right?
Literally
Sure.
rush
Not for
into
me.
it at 90
Yeah.
miles an hour.
Yeah, he was ready. And it was over in like maybe, I don't know, an hour or less.
Well, what I like about that is that like you've never seen him outside of that Starbucks. So as far as you know, all he does is sit in that Starbucks and drink coffee all day and hit on chicks. So he was like, "Hey, how you doing? What about now? What do you want to do now? Hey, you want to get married? We should have kids. We have 12 kids. I want to have kids. I could give birth too. We give birth together. How do we do it?"
That's good.
That
That's
is
a
a
good,
good
that's a good
line.
guy all coffeeed up.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
him. I've been working on that character.
Well, that brings us, and I don't want to oversell this, but that brings us to the one that I'm maybe most excited about.
The only reason why I was invited on was
yeah,
you should
dear,
like-
dear,
Such
dear
fun
listener,
things.
if you've
I'm
made
so
it this
excited
far,
about this.
Yeah. Katie, first of all, have you ever used a pickup line? Do you have a pickup line that you've tried?
Personally, I don't think I've used the pickup line, but I'm a really big fan of the whole sugar packet like dropped on the floor, and then he picks it up and he goes, "Excuse me, miss, I think you dropped your name tag."
Oh, okay.
So
that's a
you
good
want
one.
the line said to you, but like you instigated it, and that's the assist, right? I like that.
I love the corny pickup lines. I think it almost shows more confidence. So
I like it.
it's either crash and burn or a success.
I love
Yeah.
a prop.
Yeah, but my bad date story is it was a total crash and burn, but I was waiting in line to get a smoothie and struck up a conversation with the guy behind me and got on the topic of Indian food, and he said he knew this really great Indian food place. We should go sometime. Let me get your number. And I think I respect when a guy can ask you out in person because so much of it is, a lot of dating via the phone apps and things like that. So I said, sure, why not? So we planned a date about 3 weeks later, And I met him at this place called Casa de Luz. Have you guys been? It's one of
Yeah,
those
we went
Love
with
that
my
restaurants.
place.
dad one time.
I don't think they believe in using butter or
They
oil.
don't. Yeah, it's super vegan and
Very
super,
holistic.
Like
Yeah.
I think
macrobiotic.
instead of salt, they had like ground sesame seeds on the table.
Oof.
They had sand from the beach.
Sand from the beach.
So I show up at the restaurant, and it's one of those places where you pay before you sit down, and we're waiting in line, and he looks at me and he goes, "It's going to be $14." And I was like, "Okay, great. Like, probably isn't a date then. That's fine. Like, air is clear. That's okay." So it's also like 100 degrees, 100% humidity, like middle of summer Texas. And he looks at me and he's like, "Oh, really love to sit outside. Like, are you okay with that?" And I'm like, everyone else is inside, so the patio is wide open. And I say, "Sure, I want to be a cool girl, you know, like you want to go along with it. You want to hop in the van, like it's not a problem, you know? You want to watch a movie and you want to be a cool girl." So I said, "Sure."
It sounds like a metaphor. Just hop in the van.
Are those car seats in the back? You must be the best uncle. I bet you're
Sure,
the fun
I'm
uncle,
a cool
aren't you?
girl.
Ugh, just bottles rattling
So-
around.
Sit outside and they bring out our food, and on my plate it's hot rice, hot beans, hot steamed pumpkin, and I think maybe some kale. So it's all hot food, and it's like the hot where you just feel the sweat dripping down your skin. So we're sitting outside and he's talking, and I ate about half my food because I'm just hot and not hungry and frankly not enjoying any of this. And he keeps on looking down at my plate and he goes, are you gonna finish that?" And I was like, "No."
You're like, this food that I
"Do you
paid
want
for?
it?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, that'd be great. I'm just really hungry." So I bought him half of his dinner. And
Yeah.
then after, and I just want to paint the picture, I decided to look nice. So I'm in a dress and like some cute little heels. And after dinner, he goes, "I'd really love to just like get out in nature and walk. Like, do you want to go for a walk?" And I'm like, "Okay, sure. Like, I can go for a little walk on the sidewalk. That's fine." So we start to walk, and it's the restaurant. It's kind of, if you go behind the restaurant, it leads to the Lake Austin Trail loop, and he sees this steep, rocky, dusty path towards the trail, and he goes, "Oh man, I'd love to go down there. Like, is that okay? Can we walk down there?" Wanting to be the cool girl. Of course, I said yes. So I'm like hobbling down this steep, rocky trail while there are like runners jogging past me in their running shoes. And we finally make it to a bridge. And he looks off to one side and he tells me about a really great lookout spot on that end. And then he looks on the other side and he tells me about really great lookout spot over on that side. And I look at my watch that I don't have on my wrist and I say, "I think it's time for me to go home." So we start to walk back, and he does offer to carry my heels up the trail, which
As long as you carry his food.
Eat it all,
Can you hold this takeout box?
he ate all of his food. So we walk up the trail, and almost to my car, he looks at me and he asks me if I like movies. And I think that's like a pretty harmless question, but also kind of weird because who doesn't like movies? And so I'm like, "Yeah, I like movies."
Hey, you like movies? You want to make one? No.
That was weird.
And he goes, "Well, like maybe we should watch a movie sometime." And I was like, look, his name was Ryan. I'm just gonna say it. I was like,
Oh.
"Ryan, what are your intentions here?" And he was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" And I said, "I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really interested in anything more than a friendship right now." And he was like, "Well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm like very physically attracted to you." And I was like, "Well, I think this is where the date ends then." And he goes, "Well, no. Well, what if like, you go do your own thing and I go do my own thing, and then like maybe sometime we can like do something together." And I was like,
You're talking about dating, Ryan.
Interesting.
No,
like,
I
wait.
don't think so.
You're like, wait, slow that down and repeat it to me.
Reverse this.
Uh-huh.
Start over.
We're almost to the end. I get to my car and I'm like, all right, it's time for me to go. And so I give him a hug, right? Like
Yeah.
quick hug, release. And he gives me a hug and he keeps his hands on the upper part of my back.
Okay.
And then they slowly slide down to the
Oh.
lower part of my back.
Yep.
And I'm like just standing there with the arms, by my side, and he leans back and he looks at me and he leans forward. And I laugh and I push his arms away and I get my car and go home.
That's pretty good. You're like,
Then I must have been giving him signs that the date was going really well. And maybe I should have just said no to walking down that steep path, but it just got steeper and steeper.
Ooh.
Oh,
you turned it
heavy
into a
metaphor. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think you could have just been not seeing the signs. Poor Ryan can't read body language.
Guys are bad about that, I think.
I just want to say that he
Yeah.
told you he knew a spot for great Indian food, and you did not eat Indian food.
No, we
Yeah.
did not. It was an Indian food night. I guess they have
not-
Indian food like maybe once a week or once a
They
month.
do.
But
Yeah, they have
They
it every
change it
once
up.
in a while.
Mhm.
But it's mostly just that place is mostly just vegan food.
Yeah, it's just
False
like, hey, what
promises.
Maybe he
vegetables
just-
can we get for free?
Maybe he just
today?
realized that a lot of Indian food is vegan food, and he was like, I don't know,
he just said
vegan
he didn't
food,
want to
Indian
wait.
food.
He was like, I know a place that has Indian food. And by that, I mean food. We will just be eating food, and
Just
I'll be
eating
eating
food.
There were
pork.
so many fails on this story. I just
love it.
yeah.
Well, to be
Yeah.
fair, we've all heard this story before, and it gets better every time. So, Katie, I hope
classic.
that you can come on the podcast some other time and tell that story again.
No, dude, tell the Wrigley Field story. That's the one.
Oh,
I-
yeah, that was a
That
good
was
one.
fun. That
That
was
was a good
fun.
one.
That was funny because we were all sitting
'Cause
there.
we were all
like,
there,
where's
yeah.
Katie?
All of us were in the background of that story.
We were like watching it in slow motion.
Well,
I think
I
I
think-
blacked out. I don't remember anything about that.
I think that I am positive that like every girl has like a handful of date stories where it like goes horribly wrong, and then the guy like leans in for a kiss, and you're like, what in the hell? What's happening right now?
You're
Leans
not
in
reading my signs.
after you deny the first two. I think that's when you should maybe read.
Yeah, when you were literally like, this date is going horribly. I think I'm not interested in you. And he was like, well, how about this? Maybe you're interested in this.
What about the lower
Yeah.
back trick?
Yeah, I mean, I guess props to persistence, maybe.
He's like, this trick works 9 out of 100 times.
I do
Oh, yeah.
remember the Wrigley Field guy was the eco straw guy, right?
The blue straw guy, yeah.
Blue straw.
Oh, getting really specific. We're trying not to call people
Wow.
out. But we
Now's
got
the
to
time.
see. we got
Hey,
to
if he's
see that
listening,
guy.
I hope he knows that he had a feature on our podcast.
He had a feature on our podcast. I think we all got to see. Did we hear about it, or did we see the guy going through the?
I feel like I saw it. I feel like you were at the very like bottom of the stadium, like we were in the high like seats up there.
I don't know. It was 3 different times. One was like going up the stairwell. The one was at the top of the stairwell, and then the last one might have been at the bottom.
3 strikes, you're out.
Yeah.
There she is.
Saying
Like, guys, get consent. And by that, I just mean pay attention.
Yeah, get a clue. That actually makes me feel kind of good, right? Because like I have been the reason why dates are bad, right? Failed planning, broken car, bad movie choice, just being obnoxious. But I can say to my credit, I was never the guy. Like I always acknowledge the fact, this didn't go well. Like the bad date I'm talking about earlier, that ended with a handshake. Hey, thanks. And like I got
a lot,
up at her
buddy.
house. Yeah, nice work, pal.
Well, we've got. I think that's our time, guys. We've covered a lot today. Some might say too much. Don't forget that you can get your questions answered on our podcast by calling or texting 855-700-BIRD. That's 855-700-BIRD. Don't forget to hug your dogs and cats, and be kind to your friends and neighbors. Everybody needs a little bit of love and a little bit of happiness. Bye-bye.